It's time for Around the Ozarks News, brought to you by the Springfield Greene County Park Board, Kitchen Land USA, and Thompson Sales. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Forhetz.
Hey there, good morning to you on Wednesday. We are making our way through the week as we do, and we have some news to tell you about this morning. Police are investigating a shooting at the Springfield Buc-ee's. Springfield officers were called about a man being shot inside a vehicle at the Giant gas station and convenience store, shot in the leg, taken to the hospital and treated. Police are trying to figure out what exactly happened. Meanwhile, President Trump signed off on Governor Kehoe's request for federal disaster aid for victims of the devastating tornadoes all across the state of Missouri in April and May. The state of Missouri is number 2 on the list of states with the most tornadoes this year, second only to Texas. So with that declaration from the president, FEMA public assistance is available for Berry, Greene, Lawrence, McDonald, Newton, and Washington counties. Some nonprofits and local governments can also apply for money to use on repairing damaged infrastructure and get reimbursed for the bill for debris removal. So
yeah.
That's it.
Meanwhile, here in Springfield, City Council overwhelmingly passed a bill authorizing $1 million to help with cleanup from the April 29th storms. City Utilities estimates between $9 and $11 million worth of damage, including over $1 million in material cost for utility poles and wire. That's a big storm. That's big. The biggest, in fact, that they had seen since 2007, which was the ice storm, which everybody who lived here during that time remembers that one for sure.
Yep. Most people without power since then. Yeah.
Yeah. Governor Mike Kehoe says public safety, which was in part his campaign platform, is still one of his top priorities. And with that, Senate Bill 81 just passed. Kehoe says it will expand criminal background checks, modernize fireworks regulations, better support families of law enforcement officers, and strengthen protections for victims of childhood sexual abuse, among many other things.
Okay. Missouri is now one of 27 states suing biotechnology company 23andMe to block the sale of personal genetic data. The company has filed for bankruptcy prior to this and is now up for sale to another company. That's what's prompting the lawsuit. Missouri and the other states have sued to block the sale, claiming customers should have the right to control their own deeply personal information, not a new company. The court has appointed an independent privacy expert to look at that proposed sale. And everybody who did 23andMe is saying, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I almost bought that for you for Christmas one year, whatever year it got really wildly popular. And then I kind of thought about it for 60 seconds and was like, there's absolutely no way that my husband would take that test.
Correct.
For this reason, people, this is the reason why. We worked
exactly
in media
right.
for a hot minute. And there is a prediction for how these things will go down.
I also don't use my fingerprint to get into my phone. That's absurd. Anyway, that's a different story. I could go off on a tangent. But I won't, because I'm more reserved than that.
Very reserved.
Very reserved and professional. In 2 weeks, Springfield City Council will vote on a possible 13.5% increase in pay for Springfield Police Department salaries. That is for sworn officers. So if it's approved, that increase would go into effect this July. So stay tuned for that.
The new Pipkin Middle School on North Campbell is now under construction officially. It's a $53 million project paid for by Prop S, which voters approved 2 years ago. SPS bought the 9-acre lot from the Assemblies of God headquarters. Now they are building on it there. The original Pipkin, get this, was actually opened in 1925.
Wow.
So it was time.
Time for a new one.
It was time. In an effort to fill vacant classrooms with good teachers, Missouri lawmakers will allow retired teachers to serve as substitutes without losing their retirement allowance. You might remember this need really was magnified during COVID. And at that time, they passed a bill that encouraged retirees to come back to the classroom and be subs. And they set an expiration date on that of June of this year, like June 25. However, lawmakers just extended that date until 2030 because they still need the teachers. The state has loosened requirement for substitute teachers, as you know, due to many vacancies still inside Missouri classrooms.
Okay. Macadoodles on East Independence is closed for now. There's a sign on the door that says closed temporarily due to transfer of ownership. So it's being sold. It's a strange way to go, it seems, and unexpected. The story's the store's page on Facebook says they will be back soon. So it's yet another thing that we will be watching to see who the new owners are, because we don't know yet and how all that was going to work out.
Yeah. You were kind of breaking up for me. I don't know if you are for the viewers or not, but what he said is Macadoodles has a sign on the door right now that says temporarily closed due to transfer of ownership. I think it seems unexpected because typically you would think that if that was going to happen, there would be like not a gap or else a gap with an exact date. And the sign, the post on Facebook on Macadoodle's page basically just says like they're hoping to be back soon. So I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's interesting timing, but it's closed for now, specifically the one on East Independence. So, okay, now to this. What an honor for a man from Springfield. This is just cool. He was awarded with a flight baton from the U.S. Army Golden Knights parachute team. How cool is that? Senior Airman William Burdett was awarded the 2024 Airman of the Year Award for the 337th Air Base Wing at the Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque. The baton is carried by the team leader, symbolizing command responsibility and coordination required for a successful jump. Now, this is going to be a sight to behold. The Golden Knights will be performing in Branson this August, so a couple months, at the inaugural Wings of Pride Air Show at the Branson Airport. Now, we've told you about that. It's coming on August 30th. Through September 1st, so over that weekend. The parachute team will join the Navy's Blue Angels flight demonstration squadron headlining that show. And again, this is their inaugural here in Branson. So it's a first in our area. Ethan and I got to go, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago to the one in Kansas City, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it really was. Can you hear me now? Am I better?
Yeah, you're great now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And I couldn't decide earlier if you were only not great for me or if maybe you were not great for them. So I just went ahead and rehashed, you know?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think if I'm not great for you, I'm not great for everybody.
Okay.
That's generally how it goes.
I mean, I think you're pretty great. I do.
Yeah.
True.
Well, yeah, we went to that air show in Kansas City. We got to see at that show the Thunderbirds, Air Force Thunderbirds, who, of course, I flew with. Nobody wants to rehash that story.
Right. Because he tells it at least once a month.
Maybe you can.
At least once a month.
Every year on the 4th of July, I tell the story and I share my video because I flew with the Thunderbirds. It's not that big a deal, okay? There have been a handful of other people in the world who have done it. So, what? Anyway,
I got to talk to Michelle Obama at Walmart when she was here doing her healthy food tour.
Okay. Wasn't that something?
No big deal.
So anyway, the Thunderbirds
George
were
Bush
there.
waved at Ethan one time, like just Ethan. Nobody else was around. He waved just at Ethan.
That's a true story. That's a true story.
Oh, I interviewed oh my goodness, not Donald Trump. Who was his vice president? Why can't I think of his name?
Pence.
Yes, Mike Pence, of course. That was fun too.
You step off the stage and everybody forgets you.
You know what's funny is actually I could see his face, but I did forget his name. That's a true story. All I could think was John McCain, but it wasn't John McCain.
I can trump all of this.
Wrong party.
You want to know how?
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of things. I did interview the president, President Trump, before he was ever president. He was at
Yes.
a Tyson
Yeah.
Holyfield fight,
Right.
and Don King and some other folks. But the coolest thing is that I was the very first person to interview Mills Lane, the boxing referee, right after he called the Tyson Holyfield ear bite fight.
Yeah.
I was at the ear bite fight, and Mills Lane was in the ring, called the fight because Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off. Mills Lane is climbing out of the ring. I'm there with a photographer and a microphone, working for the TV station in Las Vegas, the NBC affiliate. And I say, and I have this on video, thanks to Joe Hickman, by the way. I say to him, "Why'd you stop the fight?" And he's like, "What? Gee, did?" He cursed at me. It was the best sound ever. And I said, "Well, Tyson's camp is saying that Holyfield was headbutting." "Oh, that's bull." And he cursed at me again. It was the best soundbite because it was so raw and in the moment. I'm playing devil's advocate. Because,
Right. Like you do. I know.
He's coming
It's
out
like
of the
the
ring.
perp walk. Reporters don't do the daggum perp walk anymore. I know the answer to the question. Okay. I'm asking the question to get the reaction.
Correct.
Reporting 101. Babe, I would have supported your question, your line of questioning. I wouldn't have thought you were dumb or crazy.
Nobody had a problem with it because we played it. We just bleeped him and played it that night on the news, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And who knew but Joe Hickman? I was in Las Vegas, working in Las Vegas.
And didn't even know Joe Hickman.
Never been to Springfield. And Joe Hickman's minding his own business, working on a weekend night in Springfield like he did for like 30 years. And he was recording the satellite feed as it came in. So he had me on video talking to Mills Lane and the fight doctor, Bernie Pacheco. And one night at KY3, I realized he had this. And I said, because I've been telling the story, but I never had the video to back it up, that Mills Lane cursed at me. So now if you look it up on YouTube, it's there. You can see Mills Lane cursing at me, a very young Ethan Forhetz.
You feel like the Mills Lane story is bigger than President Bush waving at you specifically?
Yeah, it was just a wave. Mills Lane cursed at me.
I know, but it was a wave with like a hey, I'm looking at you. Well,
no,
hold on. Wait a second.
We made
Garth
a connection.
Brooks.
No doubt.
Garth Brooks and I have a connection. Hello. Garth Brooks looked at me. I gave him the poke sign and he went like this. Yeah. Like 3 times. It was me. He was talking to me, actually.
Where'd you get that great idea, by the way?
Well, I married a guy who is pretty creative. Ethan was like, "Hey, you should give him the poke sign because we went to the same university." And so that's what I did. And it worked.
He will totally react to that.
Yeah. There was a sea of people and he pointed out me. Anyway, Michelle Obama, Mike Pence are still probably my coolest, other than a bunch of super high profile criminals, which nobody wants to hear about. I mean, you'll watch it. You watched it because it was good television, but you don't want to hear about it now. And guess what? I don't either. So.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, that's that. Tell them about the contest and then we'll get out of here.
The contest. Yes. Sorry. We digress, don't we? Sometimes. At AroundTheOzarks.com, we are giving away a family 4-pack 4 different times. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 to go to Adventure Seekers Branson. And it's a super cool place. It's indoor, but they have all sorts of like flight simulators, arcade games, new ones and old school, just all sorts of exhibits and activities and fun times. And if you want to win tickets to go to that for free on our dime, all you have to do is go to AroundTheOzarks.com, click on contest and play.
That's right. Great contest at AroundTheOzarks.com. Also on the Around the Ozarks app, you see all the podcasts that are there because we have a family of podcasts now, all hyper local, super local to our area, and you want to check it out and listen. So AroundTheOzarks.com.
Family. I would like to start playing music out of the break. That would have been a good song right there. Cue the music. Except for we're probably not paying for the rights to that music, I bet.
No, and you're the one who used the music, so.
We're not quite that fancy yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, that's all, folks. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
Yeah, later.